You know, if you want that to happen, you call me and let me know. I'll give you what we're going to be doing during that time. I'm not going to be able to go out there and make money like that anymore, because this is the only thing I do. So I'm saying to myself, well, what am I going to do? I don't know. I just know that I got to stay lockstep with the universal consciousness imperative. And whatever it was that I think I didn't have at the time when I lost my house was provided for me because I maintained the course. If I did anything else, I'd be probably in the Bari right now with a fifth. I have to do this, and I have to keep qualifying and refining what teaching, the type of teaching. This is what you have to do as well. Find out inside of yourself what makes you happy when you do it. Don't say, well, I'll be happy if I try this. No. What makes you happy when you do it? Some people say sleeping. Leave me the fuck alone. If that's the case, then conduct yourself in such a manner that you develop the zen of sleeping and learn how to do that well. But whatever it is that makes you happy at this point, other than it being a debilitative practice, whatever that is, if it does not debilitate the temple, if it makes the temple happy, and if you smile when you're doing it, if you feel a sense of yourself, that means your thymus is opening up, and that thymus is what keeps us young. The thymus gland is huge in the little people. By the time we get to our ages here, it starts to shrink down into damn near nothing. But that thymus is what keeps us healthy. Once it shrinks, you start getting into diseases. Whatever it is that makes you start feeling good about yourself from the pit of your stomach, what makes you give joy, if it's about using your hands to sculpt. I tell people, you want to try something? Go take a sculpting class. That, you know, that immediately you get into the way the mind of God works. Because that's essentially what it is that your mind does. Your mind molds reality into existence. And you can interface with that physical practice and have a kind of synergistic relationship with the practice. Even if you're just digging holes in it for the meantime, until you find out what that meditation is inside of you that's trying to come out, that's trying to express itself. Let the clay become as your spirit catcher. You see, the clay is like an instrument for you. That's what a musician has. A musician doesn't have a guitar. A musician doesn't have a horn. A musician doesn't have drums. A musician has a spirit catcher. And that instrument he has catches the spirit, and the spirit plays itself through that instrument. You can do the same thing with a mess of clay in your hands. Looking at it, looking at something and making it real, giving it reality. You can do that. It's beautiful. That's one way to channel that creative energy. Another way is to dance. I ain't danced in a long time. You know, if I do, my ass will start hurting, my toes, my hair will hurt. But when I do dance, when I do get the chance and something hits me like an earth, wind, and fire comes on, oh man, I say, oh, you know, it don't look as good as it used to, but it still feel good. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you can do right now to displace yourself from the programming that they've put out there for you to absorb through osmotic madness constantly every day, you got to do something to counter that, to find that still point, that center. And then go in the park when you get a chance. Go by the water early in the morning when you get a chance. Find organic fixtures and structures where you may interface your personality, your feelings, dump into those waters, because the water at the ocean is the same texture, the same taste, not anymore because they be dumping all kind of shit in it, but the water is the same quality of water, saline solution inside of you. That's why when you get dehydrated or when you get sick or whatever happens, they stick a saline solution in your arm that's akin to the seawater. Because that's what you're made of, the seawater. And that seawater itself, when you go down to a pristine ocean and you smell it and you hear it, that's you. That's what your insides are supposed to smell like. That's what you're supposed to feel like. When that water hits you, that water is inside of you. It's what you're supposed to be doing, swimming at the beach within yourself. Find out how you may use reflective templates, I call it. In other words, set up the mirror of things or pictures of things that you want to interface with. This is an exercise. You can do that. There's another exercise that we do when we do these little gatherings, is the mirror exercise. I tell everybody, bring themselves a mirror about this big and this high so that we can meditate in front of the mirror. Once we learn how to do mirror meditation, we fall into a whole other kind of vicarious ocean, because the mirror then imitates water. And then what happens is I teach you how to see the essence of matter. If you can meditate and focus your mind enough, you'll find out that by your staring at a specific chair in a meditative state of stillness, once you reach still point, and you use your eyes in such a certain way in that still point, the chair begins to do this, right in front of your eyes. Right in front of your eyes. It spooked the shit out of some of my students. They got up and left. But what I'm doing is not teaching you spookism. I ain't teaching you none of that dumb shit. I'm teaching you who you are. You can make the choices after you know all the shit you can choose about. But just to say this is who you are or that is who you are, you're a fool. Because if you are God, as many of the gods on earth out there have been talking about, then what is your limitation? Why do you feel limited? Why do you say that this is who you are? Why does God speak this way only? Why does God feel this way only? Why does God set limitations for itself? No. Who you are is limitless, eternal, and ever evolving. And that's why we have to come back to that place. Limitlessness, infinite, and self-evolving. And with that, brothers and sisters, I will say,
One question. In meditating with the mirror, my eyes are open and I'm looking straight into the mirror.
Don't try it yet. Don't try it yet, because you can start calling up shit. The mirror is two ways. Remember, it's not just, it's you and the reflection. The reflection is just as real as you are. And whatever you do in that mirror is holding who you are. The reflection becomes part of you, and you become part of the reflection. Now the mirror itself, once meditation happens, remember, your mind, matter is psychoreactive. Thus, if you focus your attention enough, you can change or you can displace the solidity of the mirror and transpose what water is into the mirror, and you can see the mirror begin to distort. In that mirror, which turns into water, you can now invoke or induct who it is you want to see. And you see people. And it'll scare the shit out of you, because if there's something in the room with you and you've opened up the portal through your mind, and what kept that thing away from you was your direct severance and disconnection because of your focus onto third dimension. You now open up that dimension to fourth and fifth. You now created a doorway for whatever was in that room to walk through. You can't do that.
So when do I do it with you somewhere?
You can do it with you or anybody, but I'm saying know that there's a consequence to when you start using your mind to focus it differently. Because the only reason we are safe, or we feel that we have a kind of measure of security from all of the forces around us, is because matter is self-restrictive as well. In other words, matter is an opposing force. That's Satan. Satan rules matter because Satan is the opposer. But Satan simply means matter. Matter sets up its own resistance to spirit, because if it didn't, it wouldn't exist. So you now perceiving in